You're never gonna see this on any mainstream news.
This ain't what you want, this is what you need.
Can't never forget.
Yeah, they made us slaves, hung our kids from trees.
I never forget.
Nooses on our neck, whipped us till we bleed.
And they gotta get it.
Hey man, call it Galatians 3:13.
Woo.
You're now tuned in to Precept Upon Precept.
Crew so strange. Look at how low they hang. Oh man, took out the chains. So when the wind blow, we just swing. Much oppression, never kill 'em. Drinking dream.
Israel united in Christ. We are not a hate group. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Israel United in Christ is a nonviolent, Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race, ethnicity, or gender. We advise that if anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to any possible threat as stated in Leviticus chapter 5 and verse 1.
Israel Shalom. Welcome to another edition of Precept Upon Precept. We are your hosts. My name is Captain Shem.
Captain Matt.
Officer Micah.
Officer Yasa.
And all praises to the Most High God. Before we begin, interference, you know what it is? It's not the tech team. There's a metal barrier. They said that sometimes it stopped. We got a brand new mic system. Sometimes it will shut in and out because of interference like it is now. Want to take a look at that wonderful PayPal icon that is to donate to IUIC's Booster Club. We can never, ever plug it enough. You can also, if you're the older generation, perhaps you do not know how to PayPal, you can text to the number 646-982-3858 and text the word give. And you could go from there. Why is this important? Because the 12 tribes of Israel are all across the globe, and we're reaching them year by year, month by month, and week by week. So we need your faithful donations as the Most High moves your heart to give. So we appreciate everybody. Tonight, we got a very interesting show, but like we always do, and shout out to the brothers and sisters who give us comments on what we're doing wrong, because you have to, we got to know where we're not doing well. And then when we know where we're doing right, we're going to accentuate it. Well, we know where we're not doing well, we have to get better. So please help us to grow. With that, we're going to go to Officer Micah with the Watchman report. Take it away.
Hey, Shalom Israel, Most High in Christ bless. It is a lot going on in the world. We're going to start off a little different. We got a video for you. Check this out. Hit it.
We're in negotiations with them. They want to make a deal, but we haven't heard those secret words. We will never have a nuclear weapon.
Listen to what he said. He said, we will never have nuclear weapons. You already bombing them. Play on.
My preference is to solve this problem through diplomacy. But one thing is certain, I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon. Can't let that happen.
Are y'all hearing this? He said the #1 sponsor of terror. Who's the #1 sponsor of terror? It's the kettle calling the pot black. It's Esau. He's the #1 sponsor of terror. Play on.
And no nation should ever doubt America's resolve. We have the most powerful military on earth. I rebuilt the military in my first term. We're going to continue to do so. Also, we just approved a $1 trillion budget. We have no choice. We have to be strong because hopefully we will seldom have to use this great power that we built together. It's really called peace through strength, and it's been very, very effective.
All right, we can drop that. He said it's called peace through strength. It's called peace through we gonna bomb y'all. All right, let's read the first article. You have killed Americans. Democrats and Trump clash at the State of the Union. Well, that's because they started a war. Cuba says group shot on U.S. registered speedboat planned armed infiltration. I guess they'll never find out because they shot him. The hell is this? Can't make this stuff up. Next article. Iran updates. House Republicans joined Senate in rejecting bid to limit Trump's war powers as Israel and Iran launch new strikes. They already fighting. But yeah, we're going to make sure that they relinquish all nuclear weapons. That's going to be fantastic. But we just strengthened and built $1 million budget for our military. All right, next article. No blacks allowed. You can't make it up. Bonkers, Memphis cemetery that put locks on restrooms and made black workers use a gas station. Toilet face federal lawsuits. They locked them out the bathroom. They said, go use the gas station, you ashy black Negroes. Trump says he must have a role in choosing Iran's next leader as war expands. So not only do we want to give up the nukes, he said, look, we gonna pick who we want to run the country. Can't make it up. Go to the quick video. And let's see if it's just Trump beefing with the Arabs. Nah. They divided. They beefing with each other. Come on, tech team. Let's go hit it. Check this out right here. For y'all that's not paying attention to what's going on in the news, we're gonna bring the news to you. Roll with it.
War is breaking out between the United States and Spain over Spain's refusal to allow the United States to use its bases to attack Iran. Trump was asked about this and said that, you know what, maybe he'll just cut off Spain completely. Let's roll.
Hold on.
This.
He said maybe we just gonna cut them off completely. He said we just gonna cut them off completely. Y'all won't let us get there so we can leapfrog and bomb them. We just gonna cut you off. We built this strength, this brilliant military. But if you won't let us use our bombs to bomb them or your space to get there to bomb them, we'll just cut you off. Let's see. Maybe he making it up. Let's listen to get it out of the horse's mouth. Hit it. Let's go.
It's given to us by the Supreme Court, and we have the right. As an example, we talked about Spain. I could tomorrow stop, or today, even better, stop everything having to do with Spain. All business having to do with Spain. I have the right to stop it. Embargoes, do anything I want with it. And we may do that.
You hear what he said? He said, I'll just do what I want. And we may do that with Spain. These gangsters wear three-piece suits. They wear three-piece suits. Finish it off so we can get back to the show. Come on.
But some of the European, like Spain, has been terrible. In fact, I told Scott to cut off all dealings with Spain. Spain, first of all, it started when every European nation, at my request, paid 5%, which they should be doing. And everybody was enthusiastic about it, Germany, everybody. And Spain didn't do it. And now Spain actually said that we can't use their bases. And that's all right. We could use their base if we want. We could just fly in and use it. Nobody's going to tell us not to use it.
You hear what he said? You can't tell me nothing. That's Trump-bo right there. He said, look, we'll just fly in and use it anyway. We tried to pay you. You didn't want to take the money. Guess what? If we want to use your base, guess what? We're going to debo you and use your base anyway. That's what they do, gangsters in suits. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. That's Esau. And with that, this concludes the Watchman Report.
You are now live
Shalom, Israel. Back from the Watchman Report, straight on to the thumbnail for tonight's show. I got to tell you, that looks nothing like Benjamin Netanyahu. That looks like a guy like of a pancake commercial. That looks a little bit like Trump. Mikhail, you slipping, brother. No, but all praise the Lord. So, title of the show is Operation Epic Freedom equals Arab Unity. And shout out to Deacon Malachi for the New Moon class because he went into it at the end. And guess what? That's exactly what is happening. So, with that being said, hit that animation. I think it might be slightly animated. So you have different Arab flags here. And you have explosions in the background. And then you have the Islamic temple in the middle. So, and you got Trump to the left and Bibi Netanyahu, the genocidal maniac from Israel. That's what most of the free world is calling him. But it doesn't matter as long as the U.S. says something. Now, I'm going to go out of order real quick. I want to show you something. Officer Michael went into Spain. And I want to touch on this because this is something that I'm going to keep touching. Get Revelation 17:16. To add to Officer Micah's point, not only did he have a beef with Spain, he also, at the end of February, he had a problem with the United Kingdom. They would not allow him to land planes in a certain area, which they doubled back, and they actually allowed him later on to do so. So, number 4, Lena Petrova. I have it all time-stamped very, very orderly for you. It's going to go right off, laying back Officer Micah's point about Trump's meltdown. Let's start the first. We're not going to hit them all, but let's start first. You want the Revelation? Yes, please.
The book of Revelation, chapter 17 and verse 16.
Now, keep in mind, when you think about this scripture, you have to understand that there are two entities that were together. The beast came out of Europe. Remember that. The UK and the Caucasians from that land. Read.
Revelation 17 and verse 16.
Yes, sir.
And the 10 horns, which thou sawest.
Stop. The 10 horns. You can read, look at videos. Bishop Nathaniel has broken this down for almost 20 or more years. Okay? Very in-depth breakdown of the books of Revelation. Our bishop, the general, has them all laid out for you. Read. That's why everybody hates him. Because everybody understands that God is still in Bishop Nathaniel, the wisdom and understanding of the Bible. Read.
And the 10 horns, which thou sawest upon the beast.
The 10 horns which thou, John, sawest upon the beast. Meaning the horns, think about it. The EU and the UK were the UK was the superpower. The United States was birthed out of that. Now the horns are a part of the beast, meaning guess what? They're attached to it. America is the force. Read on.
These shall hate the whore.
So these 10 horns are going to hate the whore. How are they going to hate the whore? Officer Michael covered it. They're literally one of their main allies, Spain. They're threatening them with an embargo. That's never been done before in history to go against an EU ally. Now, let's get the timestamp. So, watch this. Lena Petrova talks in long run-on sentences, but she's got some good content. Play.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for being here. By the way, you can find this video and more content on my Substack and Patreon at worldaffairsandcontext.com. I'm offering 20% off an annual subscription, so just use the link in the video description below to join our community. I would love to see you there. President Trump says the United States is now cutting off all trade with Spain, those are his words, after the country banned the United States from using their military bases for strikes on Iran.
Stop. Real quick, I want you to get me. I put up the two bases. Did I put that up? I'm pretty sure I put it up. Please tell me I put it up. I put up two bases. Maybe I didn't give it to you. Maybe I didn't give it to you. Cap, say something real quick. I thought I gave it to them. Nope, that's not it. There's but I didn't send it to you. Hang on a second. I'm gonna send it to you right now. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Cap.
Check. Hey, get that Revelations again.
The book of Revelations, chapter 17 and verse 16.
Uh-huh.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore.
Now, this has been building up for years right now. You had the Nord Stream pipeline that got blown up under Biden, and he admitted to it. That affected Germany. Then you had the shipping container crisis that happened a few years ago, where right after the Nord Stream pipeline got exploded, then the farmers started going crazy. They was leaving food and grapes and all kind of stuff all over the road. They was going on strike. They was driving tractors to the capitals of these countries. They asking for help. The United States say, well, there's a shipping crisis, so we can't help you. So y'all started this domino effect because y'all blew up their pipeline, and then you're not even going to help them when they get in trouble. So then you had Brexit, which everybody hated. Nobody liked it. Now you got Spain being looked at. Then you have countries like Turkey that are supposed to be a NATO ally. They're being looked at crazy because Turkey is going to side with their people, even though they claim that they're not. But they are a Muslim country, even though they claim that they're not. All of these are going to play a role into how the 10 horns hate the whore. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to happen over time, and it's been happening if you've been paying attention.
Hey, and to add what Cap was saying, we've been covering this for years and years before the Ukraine war started. Remember, they had protests in the streets of Madrid, Spain, Rome, Italy, Brussels, Belgium, all throughout the European countries, in their own language, NATO, gotta go. They were always against NATO. Then, like Cap said, when the war started, they blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, and they had a big problem. Now, give me that article. I just posted the article from Al Jazeera. So this is the reason why. And I had this saved earlier. I apologize. I think there's a video we can listen to or article. Is there a video? No. I don't. Maybe it's not. No. We're gonna Solomon. If you could read this real quick, and then tech guys. I know you're short tonight. There's 2 bases I want you to pull a map of, and you may have it up, Akiem, but read on.
Spain refuses to let U.S. use bases for Iran attacks. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has condemned U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran.
Mark my words, 2 things are going to happen to Pedro Sanchez. 1, he's going to kowtow and bow down and make a public apology and make a bigger deal about it. Or number 2, something is going to happen to him. And I pray nothing does happen. I don't know if he's our people or not, but he may be a Castillo or a Castilian Spaniard. Read.
Spain says the United States is not using and will not be using.
Meaning you're not using it in the future. But like Trump said, Officer Micah played, they can't stop it. If I want to use their base, I'll go use their base. Their base, we can use it. Doug, are we the greatest military? Yep, we're the great. Thank you, Doug. You got to love the guy. He is a true, if you don't love Trump, something's wrong with you, because he's just the Edomite that tells you this. Doug, did we bomb the crap? We bombed them. We dropped the big bomb, the biggest. Doug, is that the biggest bomb we ever had?
The biggest bomb, the best.
The best bomb, 5,000 pounds, not 4,800, 5,000 pound bomb. And he just sticks it to me, but these Arabs, man, Trump is uniting the Arabs. Read on.
Joint military bases on its territory or operations against Iran. A mission condemned by Madrid.
All right, scroll down. I want the names of the 2 bases, and I think Akim may have posted them. Oh, gosh, there's 2 bases. Oh, Lord have mercy. Let me see. Okay, Google I had it before. Google the name of you got it?
I got it right.
Post it. Okay, you got the names of them too? Okay, all right. Okay, and those are the 2 bases they didn't let them use, right? Okay, so Okay. This is important because if you're flying from, can you back up a little bit? I want to see, that's the Western Mediterranean. That's the Iberian Peninsula, right? And right there is that strait that opens up the whole Mediterranean Sea. So if you're flying from the US, say New York or Greenland, that's a stop right there, that from there you could refuel and jump over to fly over Turkey to get to Israel, past Israel. So those bases there, the Spaniards, the gentleman we just mentioned says, no, you're not doing it, because he stood up for what's internationally law. And Trump is bullying him. So, and then what you're going to find is just like the UK said the same thing. The UK would not allow them to use bases in the island in the Pacific, Indian Ocean area. And they later, 3 weeks after, said, we were wrong, you can use it to bomb Iran. So this goes back to what Captain Matthew was saying, is the 10 horns are going to hate the whore. Why? Because slowly but surely, not only the people, like they did 5 years, some officials are standing up against Donald Trump. And remember, Trump cannot, after this, he's out. Unless there's a war, maybe there's something they could do about that. But after Trump's over, okay, there's something's going to happen. The EU is going to try to become self-reliant and self-sufficient, both economically and militarily. And this is all sets the stage for the beginning of the horns standing up and disliking, and then it's going to get to the point they despise America. All right? Go back to where you was at. Not the article. Go back to, yes, please. All right. Yeah. There you go.
Good luck.
Some of the European nations have been helpful and some haven't. And I'm, very surprised. Germany's been great. He's been terrific. Others have been very good, terrific. I think that the head of NATO, Mark, is fantastic. Okay, Mark Rutte. I think he's fantastic. But some of the European, like Spain, has been terrible. In fact, I told Scott to cut off all.
All right, pause. That's Officer Micah brought that out. Go to the next timestamp. And just like Officer Micah brought out, he literally is, he's treating it as, hey, listen, I told Scott we're going to shut him off, no more. Now, the next timestamp is going to go in a little bit more detail, 402.
Laterally imposes an embargo on an EU state, on a trade partner, on a reliable trade partner. What's interesting is that this is not just President Trump. It's his entire administration that is showing no signs of approaching economic policy.
Pause. Do you know why they're behind him? Type in the firing of Kristi Noem. One of his top officials just got fired either today or this afternoon. And she was one of Trump's appointees. So I'm telling you, you disagree, you stand up, Trump will fire you. Why? Because he's the chief executive of the executive branch, which includes all federal employees. He can fire a general. So, and why is this? God has Trump doing all this because he's the new Pharaoh. He's hardening Donald Trump's heart. And everyone around him is going to agree. And if you try to be the counsel, say, hey, listen, Donald, I think you're kind of taking it too far. What? So, yeah, this is it real quick. And Donald's smart. He uses, and I'll say this, not that, he uses more attractive looking Shedemites, like his press secretary, that go off the beaten path of a normal woman that would be in that place. Like, she's not bad looking, right? And same thing with the yellow-haired one that speaks. Okay, so she got fired today, 6 hours ago. Trump fires Kristi Noem as frustrations. So she was the Department of, what does the DHS mean?
Department of Homeland Security.
Yes. Homeland Security, she was actually fired today. Now, remember the whole thing with ICE and them in Minneapolis, Minnesota? Guess what? Trump's not going to take the downfall. I put her in place. She didn't do her job. I'll fire her. Mm-hmm. So this is what happens. This is why people in Trump's office are going to do exactly what he says, because God wants it this way. Go back to Lena Petrova. because we got a lot to
and
get through.
reasonable way. As you saw in the clip that I just shared with you, during an Oval Office meeting with German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, President Trump publicly questioned U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent about the possibility of placing Spain under an embargo. And what did Greer say? Greer responded that the Supreme Court had clarified the president's quote-unquote strong power and indicated that such authority could be used if necessary to protect national and economic security. Bessent echoed that view as well. He stated that the court had reaffirmed the president's ability to implement an embargo. Now, as we know very well, the Supreme Court just ruled Trump's tariffs unconstitutional, and I posted multiple videos on that. And yet, several weeks later,
as of the last 3 hours, several states are suing Donald Trump because he changed all the tariffs up to 15% on all countries. I think, type in, this just came in, like, I think Nevada. What states sue Donald Trump? This just happened as 3-4 hours ago. Showing you, as Donald Trump's waging this war against Iran in the Middle East, which is choking oil supplies throughout the whole world. He's causing disruptions with European nations, and at home there is political unrest. Look at that. Tonight it's happening. It's 24 states. Look at that.
That's
Bring it out, Cap.
Hey, Daniel 2:42, real quick. The tolls. You got to see how many states do we have on the mainland? 48.
48. Half of them.
Half of the states are suing Donald Trump. They're suing the president. They're suing the leader of the country. You understand? Like, there's only 2 that's outside, Alaska and Hawaii. Everybody else, half of them are suing the commander-in-chief. Read that.
The book of Daniel, chapter 2 and verse 42. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay.
Part of iron, part of clay, read.
So the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken.
It's strong because of the military, but it's broken because of the people. That clay signifies the people, and that iron signifies the military. Yeah, they got a strong military. Yeah, they can go and regulate. They've been regulating for decades, but they're going to corrode from within because look at how many, put that article back up. I mean, that 24 states sued Trump over latest tariffs. 24. Half of your population powers are suing you because they disagree with your actions. I'm telling you.
And this is that civil unrest. So now let's, in the interest of time, jump to 708 to 756, the third timestamp. So these things are happening. As we're preparing for the show, yesterday came up with the title for the show. Brother started posting things on Tuesday. News has happened since we even came up with the concept for the show that are supporting the show. This country, Babylon the Great, is the beginning of dissension. It's falling. It is falling. Play.
Conclude that these developments suggest a potential escalation in trade tensions, not only with Spain, but also with the broader European Union.
Pause.
Because
why would it say not only with Spain, but the broader European Union? Because if you embargo Spain and put sanctions on Spain, what does that do for, say, France, who is landlocked with Spain, or other countries like Italy or Luxembourg or Belgium or Poland? It directly affects that whole market. So this is where they're going to have to unite. They're going to unite against the United States of America. It is biblical. Read on, play on.
Policy is so unified, any direct action against Spain or any other EU member could quickly evolve into a wider transatlantic dispute with significant economic and political consequences. Of course, let's be honest here, the EU is very much unable to assert its political and economic sovereignty.
Stop. This is the problem. It says the EU is unable to rewind it again. This has been the news for the last 5 years in Europe. They want to get away from the United States. The U.S. has the power behind NATO, and U.S. knew that. When the U.S. sabotaged the Nord Stream pipeline, what did they do to the European Union? The people know that they made life harder, more expensive. The leaders are still have to side with the United States of America. But guess what? This is why you saw Cap mention all the uprising, all of that. Do you know the policies for the green policies are detrimental in Europe? That's why they had farmers driving hundreds of tractors, which get what, 5 miles a gallon, driving to the center of Madrid and other cities and doing crazy stuff because it was going to change everything. In the U.S., actually, John Kerry is one of the senators that pushing that green policy. The U.S. is making policy internationally. Europe has to being enforced. The people are really hurting over there. And guess what? The United States has given them a position to remain controlled over Europe. This is why she just said that. They don't have autonomy or self-reliance economically or militarily. That's Revelation's talking about. What's going to make them hate them? You got us bound up so much economically that we're dependent on you to buy your weapons. This is why the talk, I remember Switzerland and other countries wanted to begin production of their own armaments, and the U.S. had a problem. We just did it 3 weeks ago. They're gonna finally realize, Spain, EU, all the countries, we got to come together. They're going to create their own military. They're going to create their own formation of wealth, and they're going to exclude the U.S. And guess what? It's going to be a problem. You heard it first on this show. Watch. Now, I don't know what the order is going to happen, but we know biblically it's going to happen because the prophecy tells us. And right now, our eyes are like, you know what? Well, Iran's, no. All this is going to, the Arabs, like Deacon Malachi brought up, the Arabs are going to unite first. Then the Carmenians were raging in wrath. The whole time that's building and building and building, guess what? The EU has to begin to form a separation to hate Babylon the Great. And we're living in these times. Y'all got to see where we're at. Finish this off, and then because we got to move on.
Of course, let's be honest here, the EU is very much unable to assert its political and economic sovereignty. And so it will be really interesting to observe just what happens after Trump's most recent threats toward an ally, towards Spain, and whether other EU members will actually oppose such threats.
So now, real quick, I want to, number 3, this is another Edomite talking about the MO of the Israeli military and then what they do in war. Okay, and this is why when we say things, sometimes you got to let Esau's own tell on their plans. Play that.
The Iranians targeted a fairly sophisticated missile at a facility that they would normally not target because the Iranians are good about not hitting civilian facilities. They just go for military facilities. By the way, Israel's not that way at all. On the West Bank, in Lebanon, or in Gaza, Israel loves to hit civilians. So they hit this.
So this guy, what? And this is the thing. So technically, what he said, he should be labeled anti-Semitic for what he just said. For him stating a fact, why do we know that? Because there's a guy, a former Jewish, his grandparents were in the Nazi concentration camp, a man named Norman Finkelstein. And he talked about how there's rules of engagement in war and how that the U.S. was allowing Israel to drop 5,000-pound bombs in urban areas. And they didn't care who they were taking out, churches, hospitals. So what he's saying is not him being, it's a fact what he's saying. Is the Israelis are making a big deal because what happened is their intelligence, their version of the CIA, Iranian CIA, if you will, got wind that the Israelis, their version, their, what do they call, Mossad, is under civilian buildings. Once they found out, they had targeted that. Now, the Israelis are saying, oh, the Iranians are targeting civilians. Well, you've been doing that to Gaza. You decimated 200,000 people. You killed, murdered, maimed. You destroyed Hezbollah and all the buildings over there. You're destroying people in Tehran. You bombed a girls' school and killed 80 little girls, 160 little girls. Some reports say something different. And he's just telling the truth about Israelis. But so I guess this guy's anti-Semitic. Anything you say against the Israelis, you're anti-Semitic.
That's because Amalek does the Jedi mind trick, Cap.
Yep.
Y'all bomb civilians. No, we don't. We don't do that.
Yep.
Well, y'all killed a whole bunch of little kids. We have no idea what you're talking about. We did none of that. And then everybody says, well, maybe you didn't do it.
Then they're like, we're the victims. We're the victims. They always find a way to make themselves the victim.
Facts. So, play on.
Facility, spot on, hit it. And what they were really after, it was a civilian facility above ground. But what they were really after was going through the civilian facility and into the ground and penetrating, because there was a very sophisticated Israeli intelligence unit under that building. The Israelis were hiding it under a civilian building, thinking that the Iranians normally, as they do, wouldn't hit a civilian structure. Well, the Iranian intelligence was good on that. They knew it was there. They did hit the civilian building and utterly destroyed the intelligence facility beneath it. Now you're going to see that repeated again and again and again, because they're not going to feel they have any restrictions. And you're going to see a lot of Israelis in the street, in the debris, dead, just like you do in Gaza now.
Now, what's going to happen is this. When you're brown, like the Arabs are brown people, or the light brown, when you're that color and you're an Arab race, your pain and your feelings are not important. Now that the Israelis are going to get a dose of their own medicine, you're going to see national campaigns about stories and individual stories about this family. And Becky was 77 years old, and she was this and that. And you're going to see a story to that. But again, not that we're pro-Palestinian, not that we're pro-Israeli, we're pro-Most High God, but it just shows you the hypocrisy of this people. And you're going to see it. As they begin to take losses, like the Arabs take, like why are there no stories about the people in Iran? Okay, why are there not stories about the people in Lebanon, the people in Oman, the people all over the Arab places that have been destroyed? As a matter of fact, places in Kuwait where there are Kuwaitis and United Arab Emirates, some of those Arab civilians, they're going to die too. You're not going to hear any stories about their suffering. You're only going to hear it as if it comes down. There were 6 now. Some of us are in the military. Nobody want to see U.S. soldiers die, because a lot of them are being, they have to follow the orders of their commander-in-chief, right? They get orders. So we don't want to see any U.S. citizens die as soldiers. But 6 U.S. soldiers will get a story completely more than 1,000 Iranians that die. So again, it goes back to what life is valued. If you rule in the entire planet Earth, your people have value. The people that are not that are ruled and governed and oppressed, they don't have value.
They're already doing it right now, Cap, with the Israelis that are affected by some of the bombings and stuff like that, and they're running to shelter, and you see that all over the news. Oh, they're running to shelter. Oh, they have nowhere to go, and it's like, but didn't you do that to Gaza and them like a year ago? Mm-hmm. Haven't y'all been doing this for like the past a year and a half, almost 2 years? Like, y'all been doing this. Right. Now y'all are in their position, but now it's a crisis. Now everybody got to know about it. Now everybody got to send help. Mm-hmm. But you stop all help, aid, funding, and all of that stuff to try to help the people of Gaza. And then you keep on saying, no, we're not targeting women and children, as you keep targeting women and children.
Right. Now, let me show you something. This is something that I think that we can all kind of infer. So pull up the article about the 6 countries that are in the GCC, number 9. When you hear the word GCC, it's the, I didn't give you that as well. I apologize. GCC. Okay. So the GCC, Solomon, stand that? Read that, sorry.
The GCC stands for the Gulf Cooperation Council.
Stop. I want to give you a synonym for this. If I'm a local Arab and I was born and raised in it, the GCC to the Arab population stands for the Uncle Toms of their community. They're the sellouts. Now, what's the list of sellouts? And I'm not talking about the people of these countries. I'm talking about the leaders that were set up that control the flow of business and oil. These are the sellouts. You're going to see. Play on. Read on.
A political, economic, and security alliance of 6 Arab nations.
Those are they're not governed by the people. They're governed by these elite oil families. And who are they set up by? Caucasians. Read on.
Bordering the Persian Gulf.
Read.
Bahrain.
Stop. Remember Bahrain. We're going to come back to that. Bahrain. Read.
Kuwait.
Interesting. Pull up a map of the Persian Gulf. And I brought this out before because it's just, even children should look and say you're in the 2nd grade. Why is that little country right there? Let's really think about it. Do you think the Arab population, so if we look at Iraq, right? Look at the Persian Gulf Peninsula. Why would Saudi Arabia give up Qatar? Circle Qatar. Qatar is part of Saudi Arabia. So isn't the United Arab Emirates. Why would you cut that up like that? Well, number one, if I was trying to control a vantage point, I would definitely want to control half of the Strait of Hormuz. So the United Arab Emirates is part of the global, whatever it was, the acronym. Look at Qatar. That's another one. Look at that peninsula. It's damn near 4-sided. It's 4 sides. Think about all the ports you can set up. All the ports just in that one peninsula. Now, scroll up. Kuwait. Why was Kuwait founded like that? Isn't it interesting how only about 1/10 of the border of Iraq is allowed the Persian Gulf? That was a part of what they call modern-day Iraq. Who created that? Was it the Arab people that did that? Or was it Arab families with trillions of dollars and multi-billions of dollars that was succumbed to U.S. pressure and political and economic pressure? Now, go back to the GCC. Y'all got to see this, man. And I'm going to show you a video. Okay, so, guys, from Bahrain.
Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates.
Okay, now, let's go back to the map again. These are countries that are the sellouts. And there's a reason why I know it, because I've spoken to Arabs before. Even on the street, we teach in New Orleans. Arabs, they'll tell you, even the light-skinned ones, but you know they're still Arab, that when they talk about Saudi Arabia, when they talk about Qatar, United Arab Emirates, they're talking about the elites. They look at them like defiled. Okay? Now,
Cap,
yes, bring it, please.
Yeah, you remember the Iraqi war. The war was about to get to the Persian Gulf for Iraq. And that's why this country went in to save Kuwait, because they have control of that area. And the same thing with, as you mentioning, all of those areas that you mentioning, they have bases and they control those areas.
Bring it out.
So that they can get that petrodollar controlled in those areas. That's the whole thing. That's what the whole Iranian war is about, petrodollar. When Saddam Hussein was in power, he tried to get off the petrodollar. They killed Saddam Hussein. When Gaddafi was in power.
Yes.
They killed him because he wanted to get off the petrodollar. And guess what? Iran is trying to get off the petrodollar, and they decapitated their leadership.
Hey, like you said upstairs, that you're in the spirit, because later on I have a timestamp that goes exactly what you just said. It is all about the petrodollar. And Iran, believe it or not, is actually in control of this war. And what they're doing is they're just holding on right now. They got a country, its topography is incredible. And I got a Chinese professor that's going to come on and explain it perfectly, because a lot of times when we see a map, we don't look at, in college I took a class called topography. Topography is when you look at maps, you have to look at it from, it's a terrain map. Iran has such an advantage militarily. It's ridiculous. You ever hear people say in the old Westerns or even in war movies, get to the high ground, and then we'll hold it down. Iran is the high ground. We're going to show you that in a moment. But now, remember that. Can I see the map up here? Unless I got to look over there. Okay, so remember the 6 countries. Let's all, people at home, pay attention. Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, that's 1, 2. Qatar, 3. United Arab Emirates, That's 4, right? Oman is 5. Where's Bahrain? Cool. What do y'all notice about that? Let's really look at that. If I were to take a line and draw it right down the Persian Gulf, Iran is half, literally, of the entire Persian Gulf. Guess what? When you add up Kuwait, when you add up Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Qatar, United, and Oman, those are the 6 countries. They created that. That's the Gulf, the GCC. Now, later after Cap does his thing, we're going to come back and show you how Iran has got this war in a chokehold. It's real. I didn't realize it. And all of that was carved up and influenced by Esau, whether it was the British and later the United States of America. All of that right there is dependent on that one bottleneck known as the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz. And guess what? As you may think, Iran controls that peninsula. Even though the United Arab Emirates has the point that extends up, Iran controls that. And that's why Iran is actively shutting it down, like obviously Yasser mentioned early beginning of the show. Now, before we go to break with Cap Matt, watch this. So the leaders of Bahrain, which is that island, and Cap Solomon, you was there, right? So they got army bases over there. So we got a man in the room that was there, okay, 20-something years ago. Check this out. The people of Bahrain can't stand the United States of America. And here's the proof. So play number, oh gosh, I just had it in my mind. Oh, number 5. It says the people were happy the U.S. bases were, now disclaimer, as former veterans, we do not want to see any of the United States military hurt or maimed. As a matter of fact, we wish they would be rerouted home, safe with their families. However, this is war. And we don't wish any harm upon the people of Iran or any of these other countries. But we know God has this putting in the mind of Donald Trump to do these things to bring in ultimately Arab unity, hence the name of the show. And once that happens, the EU is going to go against the United States of America. Russia and China are going to get involved, and guess what's going to happen? Eventually, after the Arabs unite, Iran, the Crimea, are going to rage with wrath, and then all that's going to happen during the valley of Armageddon, the valley of Armageddon, right? That's going to happen, and I don't know exactly what order is, but this has to happen. So we're not doing it because we hate U.S. soldiers. No, we're hoping some of these U.S. soldiers come out of their sin and repent. Many of us in the body have been there, honorably served, did things there. Doesn't change the fact that you can't escape God's judgment. Now, watch this, y'all. Play that.
Bahrain was the one that took the biggest hits. Why? It has one of the largest U.S. military contingents anywhere in the world. That's where the Fifth Fleet is. So obviously Iran, with precision-guided missiles, had decided a long time ago that they were going to
stop real quick. I want you to pull the map back up. I want you to show the Persian Gulf, please. The map you have was pretty good. And then we're going to look at the location of Bahrain and how small it is. Maybe we could blow that up a little bit. Perfect. So Bahrain is right, pardon me. It is northwest of Qatar, right off the coast of Saudi Arabia. Look at across, if you were to take that and look at 3 o'clock, go straight across, that's the Strait of Hormuz, about 2, there's all Iran right there. Look how small that island is of Bahrain. That's considered a country. There is the Fifth Fleet is stationed right, it's a brother in this room, huge military base there. So why do I say that? We're about to play a video of the people, not the leaders, not the people that live there, what their reaction is when those bases got bombed. Again, this is just a report we're bringing to you and showing you the reaction. Play that.
Place. Now, what's interesting about this is that the missiles are leaving Iran, flying into Bahrain, and you would think the people of Bahrain would be nervous, maybe taking cover, maybe worried. No, the people of Bahrain were outside applauding while their government is getting hit and while U.S. installations are being bombed. You need to watch this. Here it is. Can you imagine? These are people celebrating the fact that an installation in their country is being bombed, which goes to show the difference between what government officials in a place like Bahrain and many other Gulf states say and stand for, and what the people of their country say and stand for. And
pause. And this is when you have Edomites like this guy telling the truth. This, I had to search for. This is not being blanket statement all over the regular news. And let's use a little bit of inference and deduction. If they feel like that in Bahrain, do they feel like that in Qatar? Do they feel like that in United Arab Emirates? So all those fancy billionaires and millionaires in Dubai that Andrew Tate is bumping shoulders with, not shout out to Andrew Tate, we hope you repent. Does that represent the real United Arab Emirates, just from Abu Dhabi and Dubai? The 1% that can afford to live in these, or does the common folks in the United Arab Emirates and Qatar and Bahrain and Saudi Arabia and Oman and in Kuwait, what do they feel? All of them in the Muslim world, the greater Arab world, are all against the United States of America because they know they got flags burning up, the Israeli flag, the U.S. flag with Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump. All of them feel like that. Why? Because in order to unite the Arabs, like it says in 2nd Esdras, you must have them come out. Get 2nd Esdras before Cap goes to break. Does his thing. 2nd Esdras 15, Deacon Malachi just brought this out. We've been bringing this out for years and years. Bishop has been teaching this as long as when I first came into the body. Bishop had been started to teach this years ago. So we're going to continue to teach. Read that.
The book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 15 and verse 28.
Uh-huh.
Behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east.
From the east. Read.
Where the nations of the dragons of Arabia.
The nations of the dragons of Arabia are talking about the sons of Ishmael, the Arabs. Whether they're Yemenis, Omanis, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Iraqis, and some of Saudi Arabians, okay? And Palestinian Arabs, Lebanese, Syrian Arabs, the list goes on. Read.
Shall come out with many chariots.
So in order for them to come out with many chariots, something has to happen. They just killed, I forget the guy's name, with the white hair. He died in his home. We covered it last week. They just killed the Ayatollah.
Ayatollah Khomeini.
Khomeini. He was beloved by not just Arab Muslims, all the Muslims in Turkey are crying for this guy.
He was the Pope of all Muslims.
Right. So not only is the Arab, which the majority of the Muslim world is Arab. However, you've got Kurdish Arabs, you've got Turkish Arabs, you've got many other Muslims, that support and are on the side of what's going on that the U.S. is oppressing. So that whole religion, coupled with the race of the Arabs, the princes of Ishmael, they're all coming together in one mind religiously against the United States of America and Israel. And it's happening right now. That must happen to rise and connect all Arabs. But here's the problem. What is stopping the progress? Those 6 countries of the GCC have families that are not millionaires, trillionaires. The life of that 1% of those Arab families is beyond any imagination you can. It's higher than Robin Leach and the rich and famous, higher than you hear about Donald Trump and his gold toilets. They live far better than all of them. They're not giving that up. But what's going to happen is these Arab people, like we just saw about, they are going to uprise and overthrow their governments. Eventually it's going to happen. Eventually it's going to happen. And just we got to sit back and watch and wait. But look, we got a lot coming up. Before we go to break, we got Captain Matthew, okay, going into his segment. Y'all been waiting for it. Here it comes. Stick around, y'all. Shalom.
This just ain't no conversation. My thoughts, what I'm contemplating. This goes for your education. God talk for edification. This is godly discord. Godly discord. Go, godly discord. Godly discord. Godly discord.
Hey, shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ bless. Welcome to another godly discourse. So look, I think these pastors, they ignoring the war that's going on. They ignoring the current events that's going on because they really don't believe the Bible. And to top it all off, I think that they're scared of what the Bible actually says. They're afraid of what the Bible actually says. They don't want to see the prophecies actually come to pass. Let's get Matthew chapter 24. Read verse 3. What's going to happen in this world is prophecy. It's written. If you really believe in the Lord, you're going to know and watch for the signs of the times like Christ said to do. Read that.
The book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world?
So they asked him, what's going to be the sign of your coming and the end of the world? Let's see what Christ said.
And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many.
Didn't the white man come and say that he was a Christian? Didn't the white man come and say that he was Christ? Hasn't they deceived everybody? Ain't Christianity the number one religion on the planet Earth? Don't we get a whole lot of flack, and you brothers and sisters too get a whole lot of flack when you say that Jesus Christ is black? Do y'all not remember the Ebony magazine title where it had a black Jesus on it and black people boycotted it? These people come and say that they are Christ and they have deceived many. Read on.
And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars.
And now, ain't we hearing about wars and rumors of wars right now? We hearing about wars and rumors of wars. We're hearing about all of these fightings going on between these different countries. Why the pastors ain't talking about it? I'm going to tell you why. Keep reading.
See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass. But the end is not yet.
Go ahead.
For nation shall rise against nation.
You got Iran raising up against Israel. The United States raising up against Spain. China raising up against the United States. Russia raising up against the United States. You got all of these nations rising up against one another. Go ahead.
And kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines.
They had the farmers' crisis in Europe. They also had a food crisis in the United States, and there will be food crisis in the United States. Why the pastors ain't talking about a food crisis? It's right here. He said there will be famines. Why they not preparing for it? Because they scared. They don't want this part to come to pass. That's not kind. That's not love. That's not John 3:16. Read on.
And pestilences.
And pestilences, sicknesses. How come all of these pastors, when COVID happened, talking about, oh, I rebuke COVID in the name of Jesus, but Jesus said COVID was going to happen? How you going to rebuke something that the Lord already said was going to come to pass? Go ahead.
And earthquakes in diverse places.
Earthquakes happening all over. There was an earthquake in Iran last week. Read.
All these are the beginning of sorrow.
And here's the part that I know you so-called Christians don't believe. Here's the proof that you really don't believe the Bible. You only like it when it makes you feel good, when it makes you feel all fuzzy and warm inside. Read on.
Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake.
Who in the Christian church going to be hated for Christ's name? Why they going to kill y'all? What's going to be the purpose of them killing y'all? Y'all ain't doing nothing worthy of death. Y'all ain't standing up for Christ. Y'all won't even dress modestly. You got a pastor that instead of correcting his wife, Jamal Bryant, instead of correcting his wife, will get up there and teach a sermon rebuking the men for having lustful eyes, but won't rebuke your wife for putting her biscuits in front of everybody's eyes. You got pastors that you got Yolanda Adams talking about that the church needs to be more LGBTQ friendly and stop weaponizing faith. The Lord said that it's a shame or an abomination for a man to lie down with a man and a woman to be with a woman. God said that. We ain't weaponizing nothing. This is how you know we believe in the Bible. Get Amos 5 and 10. This is how you already know that when they say they're going to deliver you up to be afflicted and persecute you and kill you, this is the reason why. And this ain't going to happen to you so-called Christians because y'all ain't doing nothing worthy of that. Y'all want to hug and love everybody. Y'all want everybody to be your friend. Y'all want everybody to be on your side. But guess what? We on God's side. Read that.
The book of Amos, chapter 5 and verse 10. They hate him that rebuketh in the gate.
When we start telling women, you dress like a whore. When we start telling men, grow your beard. Be manly. Stand up and be the man in your house. You sisters, get your children in order. You young men, stay in order. Stop trying to have sex at an early age. You little girls, stop trying to have sex at an early age. Get rid of the prom. Get rid of the sweet 16s. Get rid of premarital sex. Get rid of the abortion clinics. Get rid of all of that. Make marriage honorable. Raise up a family. We go to talk about marriage and you Negroes instantly, well, the black woman ain't want to do this. And the black women, the black men, they don't be doing this. All of y'all out of order. And the Israelites going to make sure that y'all come back in order because that's what we going to do because we believe in this Bible. And that's why I read it again.
They hate him that rebuketh in the gate.
And that's why we going to be hated. Because everywhere we go, we rebuke in the gate. We rebuke in the parts of the city that everybody go to. We rebuke and correct and make sure that y'all understand God got rules to follow. How they going to kill you? You say there ain't no laws and laws done away with. How they going to persecute you and you saying, oh, all we got to do is just love everybody. Oh, they killed us. Yes, they did, but that's in the past. It happened yesterday. Yeah, but we got to get over it. There's neither Jew nor Greek. But when we start bringing out this word, thus saith the Lord, it's going to get us hated. And that's why you so-called Christians, y'all don't believe in the Bible. Because y'all not ready for what the Bible says is going to happen. Because if you were, you would be listening to the correct understanding. And you wouldn't be taking this Eurocentric understanding of the Bible and trying to push it on everybody. Because obviously, that ain't the true gospel. And that is my godly discourse.
This just ain't no conversation. My thoughts, what I'm contemplating. Discourse for your education. God talk for edification. This is godly discourse. Godly discourse. Godly discourse. Godly discourse. Godly discourse. Godly discourse. Discourse. Yeah. Go heaven. Godly discourse.
Hey, Shalom Israel. Most High in Christ bless. Why do you subscribe? IUIC New Orleans, subscribe, go to our YouTube page, help us to grow, comment, like, share. What's going on? Make it happen.
Everybody better turn up. See that man, I'm gonna put my cellular. Tell them I just hold on. So bright you can hide up. So bright you like that, just kind of like come.
They're going to see order. All of us looking straight ahead, walking in the same manner, singing the same song, stepping with the same foot. That is discipline. And they say black people, we can't do this.
They look like something special going on. I like this. Look like black unity to me.
We're showing the world that this is what unity looks like. They've never seen this before.
We're trying to gather the 12 tribes of the house of Israel. Is America bring our people joy? No, that's the problem God had with us in the first place. We want to take joy in any wicked thing. But God is calling us. Let's keep God's commandment and live, man.
We love this. Too black, too proud, too strong. We out here.
The love that you guys have between you, that stands out to me as well. Just brought me to tears. I'm grateful.
What do you think about all the black men you just saw marching?
It was good.
It was good.
I just look at things different now. I never realized. I thought Jesus was white, but he actually our color. What they telling you in church is not true. Whatever this is, you need to follow this. It was on the ground. But it make you look at life in a whole different way. Whoever threw this on the ground is a dumbass. You should have read it.
Awesome.
You know the world, what black people can do.
I support y'all. I want you to know that I support y'all.
Man, it just made me feel like this is real. This is our history. You know, we need to rise above this bondage and everything else that come along with it.
Used to be in a gang.
Not no a lot of people used to be in gangs. Not no more. It's amazing.
Used to be in a gang.
I learned some things that I didn't expect to learn today. You feel me? They told me I learned about Israel. I learned who our enemies is. And I learned that I'm a king.
Purple and gold, the royal attire. We out teaching truth, set the streets on fire.
We out here to warn you. Mardi Gras is evil. Because y'all are showing her a terrible example. What's your name, little sister? Which one of you black women gonna show baby Bailey how to be a wife?
All truth. Ain't no need for the hate.
It's a start, and y'all can bring some more brothers in. I love it that y'all out here. It makes me happy.
Hey, shalom. Welcome back to Precept Upon Precept. I had heard that Officer Yasa wasn't talking enough. He's all fired up because we're all tired, but Officer Yasa, sometimes he comes up with some stuff that because he's been on earth longer than us, he remembers things that are very important for the show. So we give a shout out to everybody on the show, and thank you for the individual who was thought that. Okay, all praise the Lord. Look, put the thumbnail back up. Okay, all right. Operation Epic Freedom equals Arab Unity. Now, you know what? I got to go here.
Yeah.
You bring it out.
So I see they got the Golden Dome right there. And that's been a real stickler. And the so-called Jews or the Israelis want that area. If they destroy that dome because they believe that's where Solomon's temple was, it's going to be on, it's going to be on, it's going to be on.
Hey, Officer, to your point, just like they killed, Officer Solomon said they killed Ayatollah Khomeini, right? That's like Captain Matt mentioned, their version of the Pope. If they destroy that temple, that's their holiest of holy place. This is already turned into a holy war.
Look, Cap, I double dare you.
Yeah.
Hey, they Tucker Carlson. I be watching him sometimes.
You're gonna kill that dude.
Hey, Tucker Carlson, he said that Israel was shooting bombs or missiles at Ishmael's places in Israel, like the Al-Aqsa Mosque. He said that they'll shoot missiles there and blame Iran.
Hey, real quick. Hey, you got to get that for Cap. I watched that. Two of his things. I was going to put it up, but find Tucker Carlson, whatever Cap just said. We'll come back to it, and Cap, you can break that down.
Yes,
that was a heavy. And listen, they actually are some of the Jewish Israeli Zionists actually have called that Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens be put be sentenced to life in prison for their media reporting. They are real. Anything that talks about any truth, because they have a big platform, they can't stand. And don't be surprised if they kill Candace Owen and Tucker, just like they killed Charlie Kirk when he started. They didn't kill Charlie Kirk because he talked about girls being in women's bathroom. They didn't care about that. As soon as he started questioning the Jewish intentions in Zionism and how Christians have an obligation to America first, that's when they began. That's when he caught heat. That's the reason why. While we get that for Cap Matt, get me number 2. Former Marine Corps combat pilot tells why the United States does what they've done. And this is another guy that I might get too, is my man, former Navy SEAL, I forget the guy's name, Sean Ryan. They're gonna come for him too. And it don't care who you are. If you could be another Caucasian, if you talk against their agenda, they're going to bury you. What I mean bury you is Sean Ryan is one of the most famous podcasts. He interviews a lot of former military veterans who've been through war and stories. It's it's one-on-one. It's a very intimate interview. It really gets you thinking, right? And he's actually challenged the whole Jewish-Israeli narrative. And watch what he has, this Marine combat pilot. He breaks this down perfect. Watch this.
Gaddafi actually mentioned something about Zionism in the U.S.
Oh, he did, yeah.
What did he say?
He was saying that the Zionist influence was keeping the U.S. entrenched in the Middle East to do their bidding, basically. And he fought against that. So what happens? The U.S. go in and bomb him and kill him. And
it seems like just about everything we do, they have influence over.
Mm-hmm. More than we would think. Once you start to see it, you notice it.
Mm-hmm.
Before you see it the first time, you don't even think about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once you start to notice, then you're like, this is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
When I start looking at a lot of the things we've done in the Middle East, at first we say, well, it's because of oil, it's because of this. Even that doesn't always fit. The thing that fits the closest is when you start saying, how does this affect Israel? Iraq was building a huge...
real quick. The reason why I think this is, put it back on the guy, not me. The reason why this is important, because they'll say that people that speak out are illogical, they're quacks, they're psychos. And by the way, this is not just because Marine Corps. It could be Navy, it could be Army. If you become a pilot in the U.S. military, you have to be very highly competent. You have to have a very high clearance. You have to be trusted. You have to go through flight simulation school. You have to do so many hours of practice. It is a very, very challenging position to get into. So, and not only that, he made it to combat and actually flew combat missions. So he's a decorated war hero for the U.S. speaking on this. So you can't just discredit him right away. And when you got people like this guy and other people like Tucker Carlson, like Candace Owens, and people that are actually smart people who are analytically, logically looking at this and coming to the same conclusion. This is why Esau's time is coming to an end. And you're seeing it. More and more people are speaking out. Play on.
Military force. It would have been a threat to Israel. We need to get rid of that. Libya is growing a huge military. The country was growing. Then we bombed them.
Iran?
Now we've got Iran. Iran's building a big military. Can't have that, because if Israel tries to move in, Iran will fight them. Well, we'll get rid of it. I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but the more you look at this, the closer the parts fit. And you start putting all the parts together and you're like, call me crazy, but the data is showing this. Then you start cutting things away and looking at it and you're like, this pretty much leads to one conclusion.
I'm going to show you that he's actually covering his track as he talks, covering his tracks. He said, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, almost as to excuse what he's about to say. Then he goes on to say, what is the last thing he said? I don't want to say I'm crazy. Because if you don't assign that labels. Now he could kind of say, if they step to him, yeah, I know, I was sounding kind of like a conspiracy theorist. Whereas Tucker Carlson, which we're going to get, he's flat out saying Netanyahu is an evil, horrible person. Did you get that one yet, please? Okay, Cap, you're going to bring this out because you brought it up. Listen to what, now this guy says it. Tucker Carlson is an American pie-eating, 4th of July celebrating American Edomite. Watch what he says. Cap, get into it.
Make sure that the volume is up at the very beginning of the video. So in the beginning of the video, you're going to see a rabbi. He's a very known rabbi. He talks a lot of crap. I'm using a lot of his stuff in social media because that's part of their tongue falling on themselves. That dude says whatever, and he says what they really believe. Now watch this.
Up to me, I would pretend that one missile came from Iran and shoot it down.
Shoot it down into the Dome of the Rock in Al-Aqsa. Destroy what's on what the Israelis call the Temple Mount and blame the Iranians. Is it beyond imagination that in the fog of war, maybe one of those missiles hits the Dome of the Rock, or we're told that it did? The Al-Aqsa complex is just vaporized. Oops, the Iranians did it. Then we have this debate. It's like a hospital bombing in Gaza. Who did it? Well, it was a booster from a Hamas rocket. Well, how do I know? I wasn't there. All we know is it's gone. Oh, so sorry. Could that happen? Oh, yeah, it could happen. And what happens then? Global religious war. That could happen.
So what Tucker Carlson is saying, based on what this rabbi has said out of his mouth, look at what they're going to try to do. Now, they've conspiracy theories aside, they have been proven to be behind a lot of the stuff that's happened. And that's what the guy was just talking about, the pilot. They behind a lot of stuff. Like you see one thing and it's like, all right, but then you start to notice a lot of other things and it's like, what the hell is going on here? So what the rabbi was saying was, if it was up to me, I would pretend like a rocket came from Iran and hit the Al-Aqsa mosque, but we would hit it. They would hit it. They would attack the mosque, blow it up, vaporize it completely, and now Ishmael has no more religious site at all. And they would just blame Iran.
Cap, they just did that. When they killed 163 Iranian girls at school, they said that was an errant missile from Iran. That's what they do.
Hey, pull that up. That's all over the news. I should have got that. That's actually got rid of Colonel McGregor. Pull up Iranian schoolgirls get murdered, like 160. That's been all over the news, and the Israelis like, oh, we just, we didn't want it to happen, and they just, Yet 6 or 7 Israelis died in a civilian attack, and everybody's crying the river. Meanwhile, you killed over 100,000 Palestinian Arabs that live on the Gaza Strip, and you claim it's a part of war. It's a part. It's ridiculous.
And their logic is, you got to really look at what they do, because the whole time they were killing them, they said that they were in tunnels underneath the hospitals,
right,
underneath the school buildings, as they attacked them. The exact same thing that the Iranians just did to them. They located them. They didn't care where they were, and they took them out. And now they're complaining about it, but they killed, as Cap just brought out, over 100,000, man.
Hey, right there. New info. I want the one if they have a video, get that. Okay, this was just updated 3-4 hours ago. So let's look at the satellite image. Scroll down. You can see, it may show a before and after. I can't, it looks like in the middle it's decimated. Scroll down. Wow. Yeah, let's just read the first 2 paragraphs and we're going to move on. Y'all research for yourself. So again, it just shows you the hypocrisy. They killed at least 165. And this, now here's the thing. The Israelis said, well, we know that they had tunnels underneath there. But the Iranians, we had the other Edomite come on and say, the Iranian intelligence knew that they had real Mossad and Israeli Central Intelligence underneath that building. But when they do it, they're horrible people. But the Israelis did it time after time after time after time again and justify, well, we knew that they had tunnels under there. Read it.
New details are emerging about the bombing of a girls' school in southeastern Iran, that killed 165 people, many of them students.
So a lot of them out of the 165 were students, and the students, they were girls. Read on.
According to Iran's state media, the Pentagon says it is investigating what happened.
Yeah, sure they will. Read on.
Meanwhile, satellite images suggest it could have been a precision airstrike. NPR was the first to report on the new images, and we hear more about what they reveal.
Right. So they're going to let us know what they want to know. Now, I got two things. Get me Scott Ritter, number 7. And then the last two we're going to deal with Colonel McGregor and the new Dr. the Chinese professor. He really goes in. Get number, I just forgot what I told you. Number 7. Scott Ritter drops, I should say drops. He drops some truth bombs on what is the MO of the U.S. and the Israelis. This is why they will not put this guy and Colonel McGregor, in a perfect world, if they were in control of advising the U.S., they could keep us out of a lot of these wars. But they're going to surround themselves with, this is why AIPAC is so powerful, because they control both the Senate and the House of Representatives, along with both partisans. Both Republicans and Democrats are controlled by the Israeli. Why? Because when it comes to certain things, they're completely and unilaterally one-sided on issues. But when it comes to Israel, they're all on the same mind. And that shows you the corruption. Now watch what Scott Ritter has to say.
In many ways is a clarifying moment. And they believe that they could sit there and leverage their control of the United States into controlling Iran. But it turned out that it was the United States controlling them, using them on behalf of Israel. And that truth has now come out. That truth has been played out in broad daylight by Iran. This is one of the greatest gifts Iran's given to the region and the world, by bringing everything to a head. And they'll also get to see the fact that the United States has been using the Gulf Arab states on behalf of Israel for decades. And they'll get to see what Israel's...
Notice he said, using the Gulf Arab states on behalf of Israel. Hence, is it too much for you to go back to the GCC, those 6 countries? Do you have that in the queue? If we can, I know we're short-staffed tonight, we can transition back to the global, the GCC, and look at these 6. These are the 6 countries that Scott Ritter is talking about. It is very important that you understand that. This is I'm going to read it. The GCC stands for the Gulf Cooperation Council. Now, Political, Economic, and Security Alliance. What is the Security Alliance? The U.S. protection, i.e., that's where all of the U.S. bases are at. 6 of the Arab, watch these countries. Bahrain, the small little island. Kuwait, the little subsection of the Persian Gulf that borders Iraq. Oman, which is the peninsula. Qatar, which is the large peninsula that shoots up out of Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia at large, and the United Arab Emirates. Put the map back up. This is very important. We're going to go to the Chinese guy next. Watch this map. And you got to bear with the tech team. It's not their fault. So when you look at the Persian Gulf, you've got one side where the GCC sits. Y'all really, if you really pay attention, how is it that if you look at the Persian Gulf, literally half of it is controlled by U.S. puppets and U.S. dictatorships? Kuwait, all of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, which is a little island right off the coast of Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Oman. That is, actually, it's more than half. That is controlled by the GCC. Elite set of families who are they're trillionaires. Now, check this out. Iran holds the key because all of these countries in Saudi Arabia, all of these United Arab, what is the thing they have in common? Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, they have one thing in common. They're low-lying arid desert areas. Some parts are mountainous, very small parts. Iran, wait till you see the difference. You cannot, they're not going to be able to deal, unless they had a ground force of millions of people coming in, and they're not going to allow that, because if you come with a ground force, they're going to destroy the ports. You got it, like when you hit Normandy, when you go back into World War II, when you go back to the island hoppers in the Korean War, they didn't have satellites back then. Now they can look above this, see where you got 10,000 troops coming in, you blow up the port. You blow up this, you can't move troops like that no more. And they know that. Now, go back to that. Thank you, tech team. Where we just at? The one before that. Yes, Skyraider, thank you.
Are that Israel is nothing more than a genocidal state wrapped into a tiny piece of territory with meaningless biblical reference. So the Bible is, what these.
Pause. I'm gonna tell you, this guy, Scott Ritter, he's got a limit on his life. Can you rewind that part again? What he just said is what we've been saying, that we learned from our elders and their elders learned from their elders, that we've been saying at Revelation 2:9, 3:9 for decades.
Cap, can I read this real quick?
Bring it out.
Before you play that again, because I've been thinking about it since the United States, the general public, they're starting to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Ishmael, they're starting to see it. These political leaders, they're starting to speak on it. Mm-hmm. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 8. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. When it says that wicked, that's a capital W. That's talking about Esau and, more importantly, Amalek. They're being revealed. They've been hidden for a long time. That's why it says mystery, Babylon the Great. That mystery is starting to come to a head. They're starting to understand who really is the evil people pulling the strings behind everything that we didn't see before. Now, this whole conflict is starting to expose everybody for who they are.
Check this out. Officer Micah posted something recently. You can bring that up, Officer Micah. There was a military serviceman, I believe it was a United States Marine. He was protesting, which I believe, isn't that his constitutional right? I believe it's a right to protest.
He's got a right to protest. He was a veteran Marine Corps sergeant. He was standing up just protesting. And watch how they treated the guy. I got the video?
Now, real quick, he's in his dress blue uniform. And he has a blood stripe. When you have a blood stripe running down your trousers, that means he's a non-commissioned officer. So he's at least a corporal. Probably, it looks like he's a sergeant, maybe a staff sergeant.
He was a sergeant.
This is the few, the proud, the brave. Watch how they treat a Marine, a combat veteran Marine, when he goes to speak. And he's in uniform. Watch how they deal with him.
You can't make this up.
Solomon, can you read that or no?
Look. I recorded
Brian McGinnis, a Green Party Senate candidate, faces 3 counts of.
It's gonna loop over. I recorded it quick because I know they're gonna probably take it down.
CNN has reached.
It's gonna loop again. There we go. Here we go.
Anti-war protester dragged out of Senate hearing.
They treating this dude like he riding a king.
Right, that's a sergeant. He's in his dress blues. Listen, that's a damn shame, man. That's a damn shame. Look what they're treating that man. Look how they're treating that man. He defends, so-called defense. This is why Esau is getting tired of their own people. Esau in these positions, they broke his arm. They broke his arm. They broke the man. I'm telling you, broke his arm. I'm telling you right now. Let me tell you something. Esau don't love his own people. Because that guy is one of the guys that's out there fighting, spilling blood, and seeing his men die in a combat situation. And then he sees the policies that's going, and he's like, wait a minute. We over there, there's an old saying that says, rich men make war, poor men fight it. This is what's going on. Here's the thing. This is the thing. I think, obviously, I also made mention earlier. Maybe it's Cat and Matt. The elites of society, both in the Arab world and the Caucasian world, the Edomites, like that guy, all have had enough. In Europe, they have had enough. In the U.S., more and more people have had enough. In Bahrain, The people of Bahrain are sick. They were applauding when the U.S. base was getting hit. These evil people at the top, these elite, ultra-rich, God is using them to create the atmosphere. If it was up to the people in Qatar and Kuwait, they wouldn't allow this. They would have peace. But God has to use the leaders to create the atmosphere for this final war. Understand it. It has to happen. So all that's why don't get stressed out when you see these things happen. It has to happen. Now, in the interest of time, because we got to stop at 11:50, pull up the video with the Dr. Z, the Chinese guy. I forget number what it is. Number 8. Yes. Number 8. And do I have a timestamp? It should have been timestamped. Maybe it wasn't. Hang on a sec. Just play it. I have. Okay. Yes, I do. Actually, so
we will know how this war develops.
Real quick, pause. When you forward it, you did not forward the timestamp. I'm going to forward a timestamp. And don't worry, I'll take the blame because I sent it to you only an hour early. So you get off on that one. So precept upon precept, I'm putting it to tonight's content. It's timestamped to make it easy for you. So we're going to start first and go to 241. All right? 241. Pay attention. This guy's going to give us a geography lesson using topography, which is the layout of the altitude, the maps of elevation. Check this out.
We will know how this war develops just based on geography, okay? So this is a map. And this map, even if you don't really know the war, even if you don't know the participants, even if you don't know the weaponry, this map will tell you exactly how this war will progress. All right, so some certain things to keep in mind about this map. This is what we call this area, okay, really small, it's 33 kilometers wide, okay? People can swim across it. It's really, really narrow, okay? This small area,
so
guys.
Pause. 33 kilometers is not even 33 miles. Remember, a 5K is about 3 miles. So it's less than 30. It's probably about 27, 26 miles. And actually, people have swum across it, okay? It's so short that people can swim from one end to it. He's talking about the Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the oil goes through. Keep that in mind. Everyone, look at the map. Look at the amazing amount of mountains that are, and that's all Iran. That whole thing is Iran, right? Now, there's a little bit of mountains, like I said, in Oman, down there. But other than that, when you see Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, all of them, all the way up to Kuwait, all of it is desert, arid lands. Mind you, keep that in mind. On.
Hormuz. All right? And it's important because it's really the center of the world. This one area is the nexus, the pivot of the world. Let me explain why. First of all, from the GCC, you have 20% of all the world's oil flowing through this narrow strait. Where does it go, guys? It goes to Asia, India, Pakistan, South Korea, China, Japan. India depends on 60% of its oil from this area. China depends on 40%. Japan, 75%. Prime Minister Takaichi of Japan has said that, listen, if the Strait of Hormuz closes, we're going to have oil in about 8-9 months. The entire Japanese economy would
I'm going to make a parallel comparison, right? The same way they shut down the Nord Stream pipeline, how it affect Europe, that's Germany, and those are partners and allies to the U.S. 75, he just said something heavy. And Cap said, damn, 75% of Japan's resources of oil, and that come from that area. That one of the largest economies with a U.S. ally is going to be crippled by the U.S.'s action. That goes back to Isaiah 14. How are all the countries going to say, is this the man that did weaken nations? He's weakening he's allied with Pakistan. He's allied with India. He's definitely allied with Japan. he's weakening all of these nations.
Hey, Cap, that's how you know that he don't give a damn about nothing, because Japan has the most U.S. military bases on the planet. If Japan is depending on them for 75% of the oil, the military bases use that oil too, which means you're going to cripple your own military in that area in order to make a point.
And Japan would have to turn to alternative resources, which means they would be turning to Russia and other nations to get their oil. And the United States can't have that either. They're in a pickle because all of those people, Cap brought out the, how you said, the
GCC, yep.
GCC, that's all they partners. But that's the oil that they're going to cut off. And go ahead.
And what Trump's not realizing, and I know he's probably got smart people around him, but the ones that he ain't fired. Yeah, you're fired. He keeps firing them. Those countries, they still have to survive and maintain their people. They're going to do that. They're going to go and find those resources. So if you cut that off, hey, the enemy of my enemy is my friend now. And they're going to go get that oil.
And officer, he hired all DEI people. He got the Fox News representatives and all the people. So those aren't exactly smart people.
Hey, and we're saving McGregor for last because McGregor says exactly what you said. And Isaiah the prophet, who lived thousands of years ago, saw this. He saw, and get that real quick, Isaiah 14, the part where it says, is this the man that did weaketh nations? This is very important we understand that. What nation on the earth is weakening all its allies? India, Prime Minister Modi, just had a trip over here. You've got Japan is one of the largest economies. They mirror the stock market. They mirror the everything that the U.S., they mirror that. Okay? Read that.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 14 and verse 16.
Listen good.
They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee.
They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee. Read on.
And consider thee, saying.
Why would they consider thee? Because before they considered them to be the top nation, the top supreme ruler of everything. Read on.
And consider thee, saying, is this the man?
Is this man, is this United States? Is this the man? Read.
That made the earth to tremble?
Why? Because how did he start it? He ended World War II with an emphatic decision called the A-bomb, atomic bomb. Read on.
That did shake the kingdom?
And since that time, he's had supremacy in rule since 1945. However, it's coming to an end. Read on.
That made the world as a wilderness?
Right. Everything a wilderness means before, if I go before something and after I leave it, it becomes a wilderness. They make Gaza a wilderness. They're trying to make Iran a wilderness. They want to shut everything down and destroy it. Watch what he says.
And destroyed the cities thereof?
Right. All these different countries, they don't care. Matter of fact, if you embargo Spain, you can destroy that country. The U.S. could destroy that country, who is an ally, hence NATO hating them. Read on.
That opened not the house of his prisoners?
Right, because how does he have them in prison? If you continue to wage this war of aggression and Iran shuts down the Strait of Hormuz, you are literally hurting the country economically to the point where Japan has 9 months of oil before they give in. I'm telling you, Isaiah saw all this. Now we're able to look at it now, and we could see the prophecies unfolding layer upon layer. Read on.
All the kings of the nations.
All the kings of the nations. Read.
Even all of them.
Right.
Lie in glory.
Why? Lie in what?
Lie in glory.
Why would they lie in glory?
Read on. Everyone in his own house.
Uh-huh.
But thou art cast out of thy grave.
Right. Thou art cast out of thy grave. Now, this is the man that weakened those kings. Now they're going to be in the house of glory. Why? Because at the end of the day, the kings of the earth are going to be following the United States of America. When they fall, guess what? It's going to be at ease. But anyway, it's a whole nother story. Go read it real quick. Yes. Read that part again where it says, this the man. Are you to get to that part yet?
Verse 16.
Yes.
They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee.
Right. Those are the kings of the earth. Read on.
And consider thee, saying, is this the man?
Is this the man? Now go up to verse 4.
Verse 4. that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon.
Against who?
Against the king of Babylon.
But hold up. Is this talking about Nebuchadnezzar and the ancient Babylonians? No, get Psalms 137. This is talking about Babylon the Great, which Revelation speaks about. Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of all harlots. John, who prophesied about that, lived way after the ancient Babylonian Empire. Now we're going to read in the book of Psalms 137. The daughter of Babylon. This is who he's talking about. Read.
The book of Psalms, chapter 1, verse 137, verse 7.
Right.
Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom.
Who?
The children of Edom.
So wait a minute. Everything that comes after is talking about the children of Edom. Or is this talking about the ancient Babylonians that lived during the time of Babylon, which was before the Persian Media takeover? Read on.
In the day of Jerusalem.
Okay, in the day of Jerusalem, read on.
Who said, race it, even to the foundation thereof.
Destroy even to the foundation. This is the children of Edom. Read on.
O daughter of Babylon.
The daughter of the offspring of Babylon. So the offspring comes after the parent. So this is proving it's after Babylon. The offspring. Read it again.
Verse 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom.
The children of Edom.
In the day of Jerusalem.
In the day of Jerusalem. Read.
Who said, race it, even to the foundation thereof.
Read on.
O daughter of Babylon.
The daughter of Babylon. Read.
Who ought to be destroyed.
So the daughter of Babylon is talking about, go to the top of the verse.
O daughter of Babylon.
Go to where it says the children of Edom.
Uh-oh. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom.
Now go to the end of the verse.
Race it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon.
That's who it's talking about. Now go back to where you was at.
Who ought to be destroyed. Happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones.
Okay, hold up. I was part of. Go ahead, Yasa, bring it out because I'm losing my point.
So, along with what you're saying, Cap, because I was thinking about Daniel, the book of Daniel, chapter 11, verse 14. And this is where what's going on, because in the news, they're saying that Trump was anointed by Jesus to bring this about. Also, the Jewish people have been trying to establish themselves as God people. So both the Jews and the so-called Christians are trying to establish themselves. But this brings it out in Daniel 11:14. Come on.
The book of Daniel, chapter 11 and verse 14. And in those times there shall many stand up against the king of the south. Also the robbers of thy people.
That's the Jewish people and the so-called Edomites did rob us. They robbed us of our name, our nationality, our land, everything we ever had. They robbed us. Go ahead.
Shall exalt themselves to establish the vision. But they shall fall.
So everything the Cap bringing out with Iran and everything, they trying to establish themselves as the world rulers like back when Babylon was. But they going to fall.
Hey, I'm sorry. I lost my point. Go back to Isaiah 14. Here's the point that it's not talking about ancient Babylon. That's why we had to go to Psalms 137. Watch verse 14. Never did ancient Babylon, nor Persian Mede, or any of the nor Rome, never did they do this. Watch verse 14.
Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 14.
If you had any doubt that this is talking about Babylon the Great, a.k.a. that John the Revelator saw, which was during the Roman Empire, is talking about the United States of America, this should solidify it. Read.
I will ascend above the heights of the clouds.
When in history did man ascend? Descend means come down, ascend means go. Ascend above the heights of the clouds. Read.
I will be like the Most High.
Right. That's talking about when the Wright brothers actually, and by the way, there's an argument that there were other, I think it was a black pilot that invented, I forget what it was, but in the early 1900s, there was actually flight. It wasn't a long flight, but they crashed, but they did that. Then later on, they did what? 60-something years later, they went to the moon when Obadiah prophesied. So this is how we know it's talking about anyways, we're moving out of time. I'm sorry, Akim. Go back to that guy, because we got one more after this, and we're getting ready to close up.
in 8-9 months if the Strait of Hormuz were to close. And guess what? The Iranians have closed the Strait of Hormuz. Okay? So we can expect that the entire global economy will suffer greatly over the next few months. All right, so that's point number one. Point number two is, okay, so the GCC sends oil across the Strait of Hormuz, and what do they get back in return? Food, guys. All right, so people don't appreciate the GCC, but it is really the linchpin of the American empire. Because what is the American empire? The American empire is the petrodollar. All right?
Pause, and that's what Officer Yas was bringing up. This is what I was saving this for now. Without the petrodollar, you do not have those Arab families doing anything. They're the puppets that allow them to control half of the Persian Gulf shoreline. All the 6 countries in the GCC. And those elite, probably half of 1%, live like they're not billionaires. They're beyond billionaires. Whereas the people in Bahrain are cheering the destruction of their enemies. And they know that. Watch what he says. This is, and he talks about the petrodollar. We may have to skip McGregor because this guy's good. Play on.
The US dollar is worth nothing. It's only valuable when people want it. But the GCC says that if you want oil from us, you have to pay us in US dollars. Okay? Then that is the basis of the value of the US dollar. So, if the GCC collapses, the American economy and the American empire both collapse at the same time.
Bring it out. Bring it out.
If the oil go, the dollar go with it. They collapse at the same time. It's not negotiable. You got nothing to back it. When they did away with the gold backing the dollar, just started printing money out, and then they had the petrodollar. Now, if the petro ain't coming, the dollar's just paper.
And that's what they have control over, the whole world. But I didn't realize something, Cap, about the food coming in, because that's all desert.
That's the point.
That's all desert.
So if you look, let's go back to that map. There you go. So, okay, I'm gonna look at that screen. So if you look at that map, look at that. It looks like snow, right? All of that is dry, arid land. On Oman, there's a little bit of mountainous terrain, but all of that, he goes on later, we're going to not only food, but much of the water, they have to, the desalination plants, which takes ocean water through a chemical process and turns it into drinking water. They have nothing over there. Men in this room are in Iraq, and please speak, I've never been there.
Cap, they were bringing water in by pallets over there. By pallets.
Yeah, it was pallets and pallets and pallets of water, big bottles of water, and we go to they would be strategically set up on base, but you wasn't getting water naturally.
It was called potable and non-potable, and you could only shower in some of it, and it would destroy your hair, just dry your skin to crap. It would just tear you up.
Cap, I want to touch one more thing because of the terrain. My mic is low. All right, now is it loud?
Yes, there you go.
All right, there we go. Can you hear me now? The terrain in Iran is the exact same thing it was in Afghanistan when the Russians tried to take that. And all America did was give them some air to, surface to air missiles.
Yep.
And they took out all Russia helicopters, and Russia actually fell after that. Well, this would be the same thing if they tried to do a land attack. They cannot do a land attack. They would lose every soldier they got in those mountains and everything. So this is going to be a protracted affair, and it's really not going to benefit the American economy or the rulership of the Americans and the Israelis on the whole world. They're going to fall because of this.
To Officer Yasser's point, when I was in Afghanistan, the vehicles that they have are not designed for that terrain. Those Humvees, every time you take them through one of those little sloughs, we had to stop, blew a half shaft. Oh, the axle's bent. The lower A-arm is bent. Then they came up with the MRVs. Let's bring this in there. This big thing goes in there. Boom. Oh, the spring's blown. Oh, you got to stop because the equipment is not designed to navigate that terrain. Not what the U.S. has, not ground-wise. You're going to do a lot of walking, and you're going to go into a lot of places that are pretty much just like kill valleys, so to speak.
And they control the high ground because they've been there for centuries, not decades, centuries. Now, watch. Akim, we're gonna hard stop at 11:50. I'm not doing lower back attack. I want to get to McGregor, but let's go to the next timestamp. Now he's talking about. He's going to go further into the dependency upon oil output, which trades for, and the trade is they get a lot more in for the oil, but they get back food and water, and why that is absolutely imperative for all of the GCC states. Look at the map. Look at the map. Play.
It's these mountains. These mountains is what we call Iran. All right, this is Iran. This is GCC. Okay, this is not a fair matchup, right? Because these are mountains. And what can you do in mountains? Well, you can hide rocket bases. You can hide drone bases. You can hide missiles. And that's the entire Iranian offensive strategy, all right? From here, they can hide missiles and drones from which to attack the GCC. And what are they attacking? They're attacking three things, right? They're attacking American military bases. American military bases. That's number one. Okay? Is it possible for the Americans to defend against these attacks? The answer is no. They're not. It's not. It's the silliest thing in the world. You have all these bases in the Middle East, but you cannot defend them against the Iranians. That's kind of strange. Okay, but that's number one. Number two is oil and energy. How hard is it to blow up an oil field with a drone? Not hard at all.
Pause. Last week we brought out, maybe it was the week before, the drones that are kamikaze drones that are flown up to 1,000 kilometers, some more than that, cost $15,000 to $20,000 to produce. Now that may seem like a lot. The missiles, the anti-aircraft missiles that Israel and the U.S. is firing cost millions and millions and millions of dollars to shoot one of them. They have thousands of these drones. If you have one strategically placed drone and you hit an open oil field or oil drum, oil, when it gets sparked, what does it become? And it becomes flammable. During war, I remember Staff Sergeant Francois in the U.S. Marine Corps. We would go into the head sometimes, went to Marine Corps ball, we're in there, and I said, Staff Sergeant, why you keep coughing? And he didn't want to go too much. He said, man, they popped them oil fields over there, man. I can't get over it. And I know he got lung cancer after that. They popped and burned oil fields in Iraq, and these soldiers, Marines, Army soldiers, still suffering from that today. So it is easy. And now that was back in early 90s. You're telling me 30 years later that they don't have a better satellite imagery? They don't have better weaponry? They do. So what this Chinese professor is saying is you can't defend military bases. What the hell are you going to defend an oil field from? And you destroy the oil, guess what happens? The petrodollar goes bye-bye. Guess what happens? The U.S. economy goes bye-bye. This is what the push is for, to save the petrodollar. And Israel is trying at the same time to create that, what the soldiers wear on their uniforms, that what they call Greater Israel, which they call from the river to the sea, okay? And Scott Ritter, we have more time, he just shredded them. Based upon a false narrative, a biblical falsity, he destroyed them. Now, keep that in mind. I'm going to get to one McGregor. Go pull up McGregor real quick. I want to get at least one timestamp. Y'all go watch that Chinese professor. He brought up some very good points in that.
And Cap, to that point, I know we covered it a few shows back when I get in that. Colonel McGregor, he said it. Like certain armies, they actually take the time and they train the soldiers up. They build the soldiers up. Like we saw with the Iraqi war. They were sending soldiers in there in soft shell vehicles. They were riding around with the doors off and everything till they hit that first IED. Then they like, oh, snap, put sandbags in the floor. Oh, hey, we got to figure out a way to protect these troops. Now, let's put this heavy-ass armor on the truck. Now the truck goes slower and it gets blown up even worse. So they just dump money and throw a temporary fix at the problem, and they don't really address the issue. Just throwing Trump brags, we put trillions of dollars, just prove the budget, put a lot of money into it. We're very strong. No, they're not.
What also, I'm gonna tell you something about that. And the Marine Corps, and also probably the 82nd Airborne, certain divisions of the Army, they're the first to fight, right? The Marine Corps' mission objective is as follows: mission accomplishment first, followed by troop welfare. That's what was embedded to us for years. So the mission's gonna go on, doesn't matter how many casualties you have. So when Trump says, look, it's war, a lot of people are gonna die. They die in every war, don't they? This might be probably the least ever in my campaign, in my administration. So the point is that they're not telling you everything. Now, there's a whole, but let's get McGregor first timestamp, because I don't want to go we're almost 2 hours in. Y'all, this guy here, McGregor, a lot of these guys, Scott Ritter, Colonel McGregor, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, they have major, Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens a lot more major than Scott Ritter, McGregor, but these guys play that.
Never got into the Middle East. We should have never got into the Middle East. Under my leadership, we will turn the page forever. One of those foolish, stupid days of never-ending wars.
We're rebuilding our military stronger than ever before, and we are not going to deplete it again on stupid, senseless, endless wars. World War III has never been closer than it is right now. We need to clean house of all of the warmongers and America last globalists and the deep state. I am the president who delivers peace. I was the first president in decades who didn't start a war. And the worst, most incompetent, most corrupt president in history is going to drag us into World War III.
Hey, pause real quick. Showing you, I tell you my opinion on this. I do believe Donald Trump, as he got into his second term and got shot, which there's an argument whether that was staged or not, but here's the thing. I believe he may have an intentions initially that he could change it. But once he got that phone call and those Israeli lobbyists who control the entire economy of the world, and those elite families that move money like beyond taxes, they told Trump, this is what you're going to do. And all that campaign and a lot of these MAGA first, these Make America Great Again, that, hey, let's make America great again, they feel 100% betrayed by what he's doing. And Trump will say some things sometimes to let you kind of know, like when the Jewish guy came up there and put his hand, you are the first Jewish president, he looked uncomfortable. I believe that he has to roll with the man's almost 80 years old. He's got to roll with the punches, and they're trying to, look, you do what we got to do. We'll make sure you live a good life. We'll make sure all that. They made him promises, and he has to double down in everything he's saying. Now, play on.
Horrible, horrible president is dragging us toward World War III. We're going to be in World War III soon. Because I think we would have been good with Iran. I don't want to do anything bad to Iran. Large sections of the Middle East. I mean, look at the death and destruction that's taken place. What would happen if we had a war? We won't, with me, but you will have World War III, I believe, without me.
That, of course, Colonel McGregor, welcome here. And thank you for sitting through all of that. That, of course, was President Trump at various points in various campaigns contradicting what we've all been observing. Has the Trump administration, in your view, offered a morally cohesive, legally grounded, constitutionally compliant basis for this war?
Gosh, is that a trick question?
No.
Well, obviously not. There's no evidence for that. I don't see any strategy at work at all. We are basically trying to bomb a country that is the size of Western Europe with 93 million people into submission to Mr. Netanyahu's demands. There's no strategy. That's what we're trying to do. There is no end state other than the likely eventual disintegration or destruction of Iran, which is ultimately what we're trying to achieve at this point. Now,
Pause, go to the next timestamp. Y'all, if you get a chance, watch this video because we're running out of time. Get the second timestamp. We'll finish it about a minute and a half, and then we'll finish this up. No lard back attack tonight. You lard asses lose the weight. Reds get to the yellow, and then get to the green. You yellows, you should have been in the green already. Get there. Stop being weak. Play. Second timestamp. And we're going to close out after this. So mind you, Colonel McGregor is a former advisor and a Colonel U.S. Army, a veteran, and worked around generals and full bird colonels making major decisions in wars. This is who we're talking about. We play on.
We'll let that occur.
What will the Chinese and Russians do if it looks as though the United States is effectively degrading the infrastructure and governmental structures in Iran?
Well, China has, of the two, the greatest interest in the permanent survival of the Iranian state and nation. They're not going to welcome any attempts to break it up. The Russians won't like it either. Now, the Russians want to finish up the war in Ukraine, and I think that's their primary focus. I think the Chinese will continue to provide whatever intelligence support, whatever missiles, whatever technical support that they can. They do have some Chinese pilots on the ground who could conceivably fly Iranian aircrafts, and some of those aircraft are of Chinese manufacture. I don't think it's gotten to the point yet where that is seen as a necessity. You know, we really haven't made a dent in this enormous missile arsenal. The missiles are continuing to land on Israel without much difficulty.
Pause.
And I think,
and the narrative that the U.S. media is painting is that just a couple are getting through. Meanwhile, a former military colonel is like, they're dumping down every day and they're bombing. They're getting through. Like Officer Yazzie said, they have not even used they haven't used their hypersonic missiles yet. I think they used one, and they can't stop that. The point is that their Golden Dome is being breached by kamikaze drones and relatively mid to low grade ballistic missiles. It is amazing. And so the U.S. media is going to tell you what they want you to spin the narrative. Meanwhile, we just showed you Iran has the high ground. Iran has concealment. Iran has decades and decades of war fighting. So we're going to actually close out the show now, but y'all watch the rest of this video. I wish we had more time. Watch the rest of this video and take a perspective of gather the information from all sides. Don't just depend on stupid American media. I'm not saying you can't watch it, but just look at a lot of it from different angles, different sources, and gather a more greater understanding of what's really going on in the world. So look, we're going to close out. I want a hard stop now. Let's, Cap, Matt, we have to plug the Booster Club. Y'all brothers and sisters, thank you so much, like Deacon Malachi always says. Thank you. Donate to the Booster Club. Text GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 646-982-3858. We appreciate everything y'all do. We know a lot of y'all live outside of a driving area to get to the school, and you show your faith by your works. And many of your works are that you selflessly donate to the cause, which is what? 12 tribes worldwide. And so we appreciate you. Those of us who get to travel and do the work of the Lord, I couldn't do it. Cap, we couldn't do it without you. So we're indebted to the spirit that the Lord put upon you. So all praises to the Most High for you and all of y'all who help support the Booster Club. So we're going to start now. It's late. It's 1 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast. We're Precept upon Precept. I'm Captain Shem, y'all.
Captain Matt.
Officer Micah.
Officer Yasa.
And with that, brothers and sisters, we thank you and we say shalom. Shalom. You're never going to see this on any mainstream news.
This ain't what you want, this is what you need. Ain't never forget. Yeah, they made us slaves, hung our kids from trees. I never forget. Nooses on our neck, whipped us till we bleed. And they gotta get it. Hey man, call it Galatians 3:13.
You're now tuned in to Precept upon Precept.
Crew so strange. Look at how low they hang. Oh man, took out the chains. So when the wind blow, we just swing. Much oppression never kill 'em.